Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Welcome, Kurt.
Hey, David. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Kurt. An interesting game tonight. The Oilers lose 4-3 in overtime to the Vancouver Canucks. Well, I'll say it again, an interesting game. A lot of Oiler fans were about ready to give up on that game, Kurt.
Yeah.
Halfway through the period, I can assure you, when it looked like it was 3-0. But
well, as the game went on, I kept reminding myself to have a little bit of patience. And just to be clear, I'm not telling everybody else how to feel. This is telling myself how to feel. Because when the Oilers' schedule came out this summer, both you and I very quickly identified, as did others, that this was going to be a hard start to the season, in part due to the Olympics. It's a compressed schedule, one, and two, a really long road trip, one quick stop at home, and then back on the road again. Given the poor starts that the Oilers have had the past two seasons, it was critical that they survive the start of this season. And so this is the last game of that 8-game road trip, if you will, with the one, quick stop back in Edmonton. And so as I watched this team tonight, I thought, well, you know what? I'm watching a team that they're tired. This has been a long road. You can rightly criticize how the Oilers have played, but that doesn't change the amount of energy that's expended by these players as they play and travel and go through what a professional NHL player goes through. For that matter, the Vancouver Canucks are tired and beat up as well, and we're missing a key player tonight. So going into the game, I really wasn't too sure what to expect from either team. And early on, I think I was prophetic. It was a pretty crappy hockey game for a while. But you know what? It turned interesting late, went into overtime. The Oilers survive with the single point, which is a bit like kissing your sister, but it's better than a kick in the head too. And those loser points, if you will, can be pretty important when you get to the end of the year. So here's a night where I'll try a great deal not to critique this win more than we absolutely have to, and kind of understand the path this team has been on, and they've got to be near the end of this particular tank of gas at this moment in time.
Yeah, so 10 points in 10 games, which isn't great. Like 82 points in 82 games will not get you in the playoffs. But right now, the Oilers stand, in terms of points at least, tied for the last wildcard spot with Chicago, Vancouver, and Nashville.
Yeah.
So, they'll take that. 10 points in 10 games when they have been really not very good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of problems on the team. And maybe at the end of this segment, Kurt, we'll just do a little summary of trends, some trends you see and trends I see.
You bet.
So just think ahead to that. We're going to just get right into it then. 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. Kurt, what is your first good thing?
My good thing, what's that?
Your only good thing, because
my only good thing. Yes, I only get one. That's okay.
You'll get one.
I'll pick the 2-1 goal. And I thought there were 3 key sequences on that play. And let me say at the outset of my comments, was it ever nice to see Evan Bouchard playing like Evan Bouchard again? I thought it was his best game in forever tonight. I graded him a 7. He's been down on the 2s, 3s, and 4s, and deservedly so for a while now. So this was a big bounce back game for him. On this play in particular, everybody will talk about the pass. It was just a dart right up the middle. When he released it, he was at his own face-off dot. When it hit Draisaitl's tape, it was at the attacking blue line. Just a perfect headman pass. Leon Draisaitl had cleverly outfoxed his check, picked up that pass like it was nothing, and went in and beat Thatcher Demko glove side for the 2-1. Beautiful sequence by 2 elite NHL players. And everybody will be talking about the pass and the goal. What I want to talk about, though, is Evan Bouchard, who has really been through a rough patch. Just prior to that pass, had taken a heavy hit into the end boards from Jake DeBrusk, shook that hit off, and then turned around and made the offensive play that turned into the 2-1 goal. I wonder if this is the thin edge of the wedge. I wonder if this is when we see Evan Bouchard start to turn it around and his confidence starts to build. I wondered it after that slapshot goal last night against Seattle. That play tonight had elite written all over it. And the fact that he had overcome some physical adversity just prior to that play, to me, made it extra special.
Yeah, so here are his game grades, Kurt, for the first 10 games, because I was just working on this. First 3 games, 6, 7, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then 1, 4, 4, 7, 2, and 4. And then tonight's game.
A 7.
So pretty uneven. Pretty uneven for Bouchard.
Well, that would explain the start to his season, all right. Uneven. But he was good tonight.
Overall, he's been 4.8, which is, well, he's usually around 6.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good grade over time for a player. Anything 6 and above, you're doing really well.
For sure.
The way we grade. So, all right. Yeah. And I love Leon's finish on that goal. I just finally beat him.
And Demko's such a good goalie. Hey, that's not an easy goal to score, but he knew what he was doing there.
His posture in net reminds me of a goalie from way back, Vladislav Tretiak. And kind of big, hulking, like a crab. And the famous Russian coach Anatoly Tarasov talked about his goalies. He wanted them to be crab-like. Anyway, I don't know exactly what that means, that metaphor, but that's a little bit what both of them remind me of. Like their glove and their stick kind of hanging down. They're hulking. They're big guys, big shoulders, big goalies.
I guess Russians, red crabs. I mean,
both really good goalies. He's a great goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My good thing, I was thinking of it was going to be Roslovic because he scored a really nice goal.
He did.
And he actually made a good play on the boards to kick off the virtuous cycle on that goal. He got the puck to Bouchard, who passed it up to Draisaitl, as you said. And I was also thinking that Tomasek was really good. It was good again, and he had a great screen on Draisaitl's goal that had to upset the goalie's timing a little bit. But I have to go back to what looked like the third goal for Vancouver. And the good thing was both the Oilers catching that, but it was pretty obvious. I mean, that was way, like by the standards of the offside rule, where it's often pretty close, this was way offside.
Easy call.
And I wonder if the refs would have called it in real time if they didn't know they had the benefit of the offside rule to, look at it at replay. I don't even know. But the great thing about it was there was a little karma, and karma is a bitch. And it was to Tyler Myers, who did a terrible, ugly play, smashing McDavid, let's say, in the balls with his stick last game, pitchforking him from below. Yep. It was just such an ugly play. And he's done some ugly stuff too, cross-checks in the past. That guy, like, he's a fairly mild-mannered player every now and then, but now and then he just snaps.
Yeah.
What do they call him there? The chaos giraffe in Vancouver. Anyway, that was a nasty, stupid, idiotic play that he made on McDavid, and he barely got anything for. He should have been suspended a couple games.
Yeah, just pocket change, right? Yeah.
He cost his team a point. If they get up 3-0, the Oilers are not coming back in this game. But he was offside, and they caught him, and that was karma getting Tyler Myers for that stupid play on McDavid. Just another stupid play going offside. Let's put it that way, from the chaos giraffe. Actually, I don't mind. I don't hate him that much. He's
sure, Dave. You call him the chaos giraffe, and then you say you don't hate him that much.
I'm not calling him that. That's what they call him in Vancouver, Kurt.
So you're just quoting somebody else, right?
I'm just quoting the faction that hates him in Vancouver.
Well, there's a faction, all right, and it's not small.
Yeah, he's been he's a pretty good NHL player. He's been around a long time now, and he's had a long career and some success in his career. So I don't have anything to say about him, but I'm glad that there was a little justice tonight. Kurt, what is your bad thing?
My bad thing is the fact that the Oilers didn't pick up 2 points tonight. And you may go, wait a minute, Leavins, you spent the first 5 minutes of the podcast talking about how that's a well-earned point at the end of a long road trip, blah, 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 blah. Well, Vancouver Canucks were playing tonight without Quinn Hughes, which, one, if you're a hockey fan, that's a shame, because whether you love or hate the Canucks or whether you love or hate Quinn Hughes, he's a hell of a hockey player. And any opportunity that you have to see him that you have to miss isn't good. I would have hoped that the Canucks would have smelled blood in the water with Quinn not playing tonight, because he is a massive part of the Canucks hockey team and their future success or lack thereof. So the fact that you couldn't get 2 points out of a team that was also dead tired, beat up, and missing their very best player kind of sucks, frankly. Those are those big opportunities that you don't want to waste. Now, the Oilers, they scratched back. They tied it up at 3 and sent it into overtime. They did rescue the single point. But you're not going to get opportunities like this against a Pacific Division rival very often, and it's a shame that they couldn't capitalize on it completely.
Would have been nice to steal a win. I mean, in the end, Calvin Pickard came up really big in the third period. He had 3 straight. After Edmonton scored early in the period, there was 3 straight 5-alarm shots that he faced, and he stopped every single one of them.
Joseph, Reichel, and Sasson.
Great saves. And he was there, and then he got beat in overtime. Not the best defensive box out by Andrew Mangiapane in the slot.
Yeah.
And Nerds allowed an outside shot.
Yeah. I knocked Mangiapane down a full grade for that.
Yeah, he didn't even engage. If he just even bumped into him, he would have upset his timing, I think. He just didn't touch him. So
agree. And Pickard had no chance on that.
Is not that. Matthias Ekholm. What did you give him, Kurt, tonight?
4.
Okay, so he started out the year with grades of 7, 7, 8, 5, and 8.
Yeah, great start to the season.
4, 7, 4, 3, and 4. He's just kind of fallen apart here. And tonight was his Matthias Ekholm's worst game. So he's my bad thing. And I'm just going to get into it here a little bit. But before I do that, I just want to mention, before I forget, a Cult of Hockey reader, Tyler, he mentioned today that his grandfather passed away. And his grandfather, Larry Donovan, Kurt, listened to this podcast all the time. And Tyler says Larry was just a great guy. He put him in an Oilers onesie when he was a baby, put Tyler in an Oilers onesie, bought him his skates and his hockey equipment, and flooded the rink, made a rink for him every year, and played goal and taught Tyler how to tip shots. So our condolences to the family of Larry Donovan and Tyler. Larry just sounds like a great guy.
Larry, will miss you. Tyler, we're very sorry for your loss.
We really are. All right. Back to Ekholm. I don't think he looks injured. I won't say that. But he's not. He looks really tired is what he looks. He looks like he's been dealing with like 3 infant children for 3 weeks and is on his last legs. The first goal against was a nightmare, Kurt. It was the kind of goal I hate more than any other, because the Wallman and Ekholm have been on the ice for about a minute and a half, 90 seconds each, approximately. They've got to get off, and they get the puck out. And Wallman makes a diagonal pass up the ice, and he misses it. But just as he's making that pass, both he and Ekholm are going for the line change.
Yep.
Now, Wallman is in a good spot to do it. He gets off fast, and Emberson gets on. But Ekholm is in no man's land. and his head, he must have just been fried by fatigue, because he doesn't get off or he doesn't move towards the play. He stands there and watches it for a second, and that's all it took. If he had gotten right off, there's a chance that the Kulak might have gone on in time to stop the ensuing play. But what he really needed to do was not get off and just get back in the play, and then he could have picked up the trailer. And Emberson was going for the guy with the puck. He actually made a play on the guy with the puck, but the guy he passed to was just wide open. And that's because Ekholm had been stuck in the red light zone and made a bad line change. And it's just a brutal goal against, to have that kind of goal against early in a game. Later in the game, he makes another mistake, which many people remarked on online. And the Oilers have a face-off. They've got it loaded up. McDavid and Draisaitl are out there, and another forward, I can't remember who. They lose the face-off. It goes behind the net. McDavid kind of stumbles, and Draisaitl's watching the play. And instead of getting back, Draisaitl doesn't get back. He watches the play, and now it's a 3-on-2. And at the same time, Wallman decides he's going to kind of pinch up. It's a 3-on-2, but he's going to pinch up in the neutral zone. And then he kind of gets caught, and it's kind of a 2-on-1-ish kind of play with that call.
He didn't just get kind of caught. He got really caught.
Well, he did get back in the play somewhat. Yeah. I guess he recovered a bit.
I'd say if he got back in the play, they wouldn't have scored.
So here's Ekholm. Here's Ekholm, and it's kind of he's got a lot to cover, because there's a guy coming in on one side. There's a guy rushing with the puck who's going to go around him, or is coming right up the middle of the ice. He's kind of got to take him as well. And he reads the play as Kiefer Sherwood's going to drop the pass back to the Vancouver Canuck forward who's rushing in, who's no one's covering. And he kind of moves in that direction because he's anticipating a back pass. And Kiefer Sherwood surprises the heck out of everybody and makes an absolutely beautiful move and scores a goal. I really like Kiefer Sherwood as a player. I wish he was an Edmonton Oiler.
Very effective.
He is a fantastic third or fourth line hockey player, and just the kind of player the Oilers could use instead of some other third or fourth line players who are not earning their keep, not even close right now. So anyway, Ekholm got walked, and it looked really bad, but he had a lot of, he thought it was, I think he read pass, and he just got deked. And tough moment for him. So not his best game, and a couple of really tough plays out there for him.
Yeah, I guess I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for Matthias Ekholm, because I agree with your assessment on his plays. It feels like we're letting Jake Wallman off ever so slightly on this, because it was his turnover on that first goal, and he did lose the race to the puck on that second one. So that's why I graded both Ekholm and Wallman with 4s tonight. Wallman's been very good since he came back tonight. It could be a little bit of fatigue is catching up with him too, and that would be understandable. But that would be my take on the plays. Yeah, I would certainly ding Ekholm on both of those the way you did, but I might not be quite so kind to Mr. Wallman.
I marked Wallman down as making major mistakes on both goals against him.
Then we were probably pretty close.
I would have given them both 3s, Kurt. Maybe there were some positive plays that they made later on.
Yep.
Not really seeing them, but
yeah,
they just were poor, I thought, tonight. Man, they were not close.
They were their weakest pairing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emberson and
Kulak and Emberson, they've pulled their socks up. Hey, they're hanging in there.
Good for Emberson, right? He's fighting for an NHL job right now.
Absolutely.
He's got this 6'4" Alex Regula hanging over him, and he's going to make them make a choice here. He's definitely moved ahead of Stetcher. I would say that Emberson has done that.
Right now he has, yeah. His hit on O'Connor tonight, as I wrote in the game grades, O'Connor was taking the license plate number after that one. He crumpled him.
It was almost my good thing, Kurt, because it was the most memorable hit that an Oiler has thrown this year. In fact, it's the only memorable hit an Oiler has thrown this year, which is part of the problem with this team. What's your number?
My number is 16. Leon Draisaitl Should have been the first star tonight. I didn't catch the 3 stars, but he should have been. He was the best player on the ice for either team. Although Sherwood, I agree, was highly effective for Vancouver. Leon Draisaitl has played Thatcher Demko 18 times in his career. In those 18 games, 16 goals, including the 2 tonight. 16 in 18 appearances against Thatcher Demko. It was just a stunning stat. Yeah, this is a 4-time 50-goal player, but you wouldn't necessarily think that a close to elite goaltender like Thatcher Demko would be the guy who would get victimized so many times by Leon, but them's the facts.
I so wanted them to score on that power play. I was so glad they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Oilers I know, right? Like the team that can come through when they need a goal, and these great players come together. And what a great goal that was by every player on the ice. Bouchard made a nice pass to Nuge, who under pressure made a nice pass to McDavid, who did what McDavid does and
seam pass across
out to the slot. And
Thomas second front.
Yeah, for the executioner shot for Draisaitl moving in there. It was just fantastic. So.
Yep. Yeah, it was a 5-player goal. I totally agree.
My number is 2. No Oiler forward line this season until this game has scored more than 1 goal. So all the combinations of players that they used, all those trios of players, there's a few of them that have, few of those trios have 1 goal each. Tonight, we finally have one that has 2. And it happened in the same game. Tonight's game, Roslovic, Podkolzin, and Draisaitl were all on the ice for the 2 goals that were scored. So I think Knobloch finally has his building block, his one line that he knows he can put out there, and maybe they'll get something done. Now it's a pretty small sample size, right?
You're being pretty bold to think that Knobloch's going to stick with the line. You're putting yourself out there, Dave.
He's got a bench Roslovic now.
Right.
Knobloch MO. He's getting a lot of heat right now. The coach, a lot of heat.
Speaking of taking a lot of heat, we all know Darnell Nurse has been taking a lot of heat. He was pretty good last game, and tonight, Natural Stat Trick had his high dangers 5-on-5 as 7-4 and 1 against.
I don't think that's accurate though. I have been making mistakes on 3 grade A shots.
I don't. So, I had him making a mistake on 1.
12-33 of the third. The overtime goal. Now that's 5-on-5 that they're saying, and the overtime goal is 5-on-3. Yeah, I'm saying even strength. And maybe the other one was 4-on-4. He deflected one on net. I thought there was one. Louis was saying he did a good job to get his stick on it, but I thought when he got his stick on it, he actually made Pickard make a pretty good save on it. So I counted that as a grade A shot against. It might not have been officially a grade A shot against. It looked like a save to me. So stats will be complicated.
I saw him really good. So I
thought he was pretty good too, Kurt.
Yeah, I saw. I'm
not saying he was
good.
bad. I'm just saying there was a little bit more going on, perhaps. I thought he should have, like, if he would have been great if he blocked that outside shot. In
overtime, maybe?
Yeah, he had a chance to. Like, he got picked a little bit. Like he had to move towards it, so it wasn't easy.
Yeah, on 3-on-3, that's going to happen though, right? So it's I had him secondary at fault on the overtime goal. It was Mangiapane that I docked for that. So
I see it the same way. Okay, let's just go to trends, Kurt. Do you want me to start it off, or do you see any? What like in terms of trends? What do you see?
Let me think about that for a second. Yeah, I think the trend that I see is that the best forward emerging out of this 10-game set was Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah.
He's the guy in my mind that's leading this team right now. Connor McDavid is certainly chipping in and is certainly a factor, but I don't think anybody would suggest that he's the Connor McDavid that we're used to seeing. And if you read my column this morning, you'd know that for 4 seasons running now, his shots per game average is down to the point where you wouldn't consider him a shooter anymore. And I actually said in my column this morning, so what's up with Connor McDavid? He's not quite himself, and I can't put my finger exactly on why. Draisaitl, on the other hand, I think has really come along as this segment has gone on, and he emerges from it as, I think, their best player up front or on the backhand. So that would be the first trend I think I'd identify.
Yeah, McDavid. There's a couple of plays that I saw in the last couple of games where it's just so unusual, and I think it's both times been on the power play where he's rushed the puck in and then got hammered into the boards as he's making the wide move. Like you never see that.
True.
And there was lots of plays tonight where that didn't happen, right? Where he got around those guys. But you hardly ever see him get hammered like that, like caught like that by lesser beings. But it's happened twice in the last two games. So I don't know what's going on, Kurt. He's not playing particularly well. I'm going to talk about two things.
Okay.
There's 7 new forwards out of the 13 forwards on the team, I believe. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of change. And there's a lot of finesse players who have come in. They're mostly all finesse players. Mangiapane, Roslovic, Tomasic, Savoy, Howard. I guess Philp's not a finesse player. Lazar isn't a finesse player, but they're not exactly rugged players either. And Frederick's not a new player, but there's a lot of new guys, and it just makes me. There was McTavish and Strudwick both identified the problem with the team is they're not going to the net. They're not getting guys in front of the net. I just think it's more than there's just no physical play. There's no physical play in front of the net. There's little physical play on the boards. There's not that big Bobby Clobber forward everybody's afraid of who's going to hit you. There's just a real lack. This is a high skill team that isn't yet connecting because all these players are so new they don't know how to connect with each other. There was lots of missed passes tonight, lots of disconnection where they just weren't quite sharp, weren't quite making plays. So this team could become quite an attacking force once if they stick with these players, for instance, they could become great, intricate passing team. That's pretty scary on the attack once they figure each other out and get the right line combinations, and that could happen. Or they may decide, we just need a little more heft on the fourth line, and they're going to bring in 1 or 2 guys that'll help out in that regard. Or Frederick will start playing like the power forward that he's the guy who's expected to be that, and he just really hasn't come through in any significant way.
Although he's good tonight.
Was he?
He had 8 hits.
Did he? Okay. I just don't remember any of them, but maybe they were good. I don't remember them being particularly good. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, if I can add to your observation, over the opening 10 games, the Oilers' offensive zone possession numbers have been great. But 2 things have been near the bottom of the league. One is shooting percentage, and the other one is rebounds. So A, they're shooting blanks, and B, they're not getting to loose pucks in the offensive zone. So they've got the puck, but I think to your point, they're too often finding themselves on the perimeter. And as we all know, this is a tough league, and you score goals when you get to the blue paint. And if that's what you're seeing and thinking, then I can get on board with that because that's what I'm seeing as well. They're not getting to those loose pucks. They're not pouncing on opportunities like I think we're used to seeing the Oilers do.
If you're going to beat other teams with skill, that skill's got to mesh. Those players have got to come together and really be able to make plays together. And that's what they're not able to do yet.
Yep.
But that will come, right? We saw it tonight with this one line, Roslovic, Draisaitl, and Podkolzin. Yep. Maybe they found the right mix there, and they have to do that on the other lines as well. So I think that'll resolve itself. The other thing, Kurt, it really hit me when the Oilers tied the game, and there was about 4 minutes left. And I just had this dread they were going to lose. They weren't even going to get 1 point out of it. I just had this feeling like they can't defend. And that's because their defense has just been so unbelievably mistake prone. These have been players who, generally speaking, in other situations have been okay to good defensively. Some of them really good, like Ekholm. But all of them in the first 10 games, for much of the time, if not all of the time for each of them, but the majority of games for each of these players has been a defensive nightmare in terms of how they can play. They have just been turning over pucks, missing assignments, making bad pinches. It's just been on and on and on for almost every defenseman on this team. They've really been struggling compared to last year and the year before. And I don't know if they're going to get it together. They need. I think they will, because in the past they have, and they're not like they're all suddenly old. But they're off to a terrible start, and I don't know why that is, but that is the case.
I see it a little bit differently than you. I hear where you're coming from, but the fact of the matter is they're not one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They're actually middle of the pack. What I see is, and probably what you see as well, I do see these guys making 5-alarm mistakes. And very few of those 5-alarm mistakes have not ended up in the back of the net. So I think they have been unusually prone to the big mistake. I certainly am seeing that. And shooting percentages are working against them on the defensive side as well. Often you'll make a mistake like that and it won't go in. Well, early on this year they have been. I can like tonight's a good example where I think you might have graded Wallman and Ekholm a 3. Well, I gave them a 4. Well, I do see more good defensive work that they're doing, but I also see the big mistakes that you see that drag their grades down. And so I think that's how I would frame the defensive game, at least in terms of the blue liners. The forwards and the goaltending are two subtly different things.
What I see essentially is both the wingers and the defense are playing at about half. They're about half as effective as the groups were last year in the regular season. So they're both, the wingers are discombobulated, and there might be, and the defensemen are, let's say, sluggish and not intense enough for the level of competition that the Oilers are facing every night with teams so keen to beat them. And so again, this is a good group of players, a good group of defensemen. They will come around. I don't have any doubt about that. But it hasn't been a good start. It'd be nice if they come around quick. We'll see. Anything else, Kurt?
The other trend that I'll keep an eye on is, sometimes young players can make a bit of a splash or leave a bit of an impression early, but as the demands of the NHL regular season start to wear on them, sometimes veteran players who are perhaps better equipped to see what's coming and handle it start to pass them on the depth chart. This was the second game in a row that I've seen Jack Roslovic look like a top 6 player. Prior to these last 2 games, I wasn't even sure if he'd stay here. But I kept reminding myself, this guy came into a team where he knows practically nobody, had no training camp, was skating with the junior team, and anybody will tell you that's a hell of a lot different than being in NHL training camp. And I thought, I'm gonna give this guy a chance and give him an opportunity to kind of feel his way into this lineup and into a slot. And over the last 120 minutes, I felt really good about his game. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, yeah, he's a top 6 player. But if you'd asked me that before the Seattle game, I'd go, I haven't seen it yet. But he's a veteran player who knows his way around the league, knows how to play, knows how to deal with the rigors of a road trip and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if Ike Howard and Matt Savoy and David Tomaszek can hang on to some of the decent early impressions that they've made. Sometimes it's the veterans like a Jack Roslovic who has more staying power.
We've graded Tomaszek fairly highly consistently, but Savoy and Howard have been getting 4s and 5s, generally speaking. There's one game where Savoy got a 6. Other than that, both of them have all gotten, I don't know what you gave them tonight, but they've all gotten 4s and 5s.
Yes, it's a great question. Savoy got a 5, Howard got a 4. All right, so it's just what you're talking about.
I mean, I see flashes with both players,
Mhm.
and I want them to succeed. And I know there's fans out there who are there. There's a group of fans who always want the young guys to get lots of playing time and to
Yeah.
be on the top lines and be on the power play and do well. And Savoy might hang on with the Oilers this year as if he can play well on the PK, which he's done generally, I'd say, and hang in at even strength. And I think he's doing both, but he is a fourth line player at this point on this team, I think.
Mm.
And Howard, I don't even think is that. So Howard, he's got a lot of offensive skill.
Mhm.
I can see that, like his shot and his passing, but he's a step behind the play. And Savoy isn't yet figuring out a way to make an impact in the game, like to just get in there and lead the way, like play like Mangiapane does. Just get a little bit more, like shoot some pucks in the net.
Well,
Make some more plays.
Well, Mangiapane drew 2 penalties tonight, right?
Yeah.
That's something that Savoy didn't do tonight, and that's sometimes the difference between whether you get top 6 time or you don't.
I don't mind. There's a chance Savoy will stick with the team. I think there's a good chance. Mm-hmm. But I do see when Hyman returns, Howard's the obvious guy to come out of the lineup.
Yeah, and I think we all see rookies with the Oilers colored glasses, and that's okay, right? It's good and it's fun to cheer for these young guys, and of course we all want to succeed. But the fact of the matter is, veteran NHL players have been in this league for a while for a reason, and they won't give up their jobs so easily.
Some people are really mad at Knobloch for not giving these guys more ice time and not giving them better line mates. Like there's a real, a faction out there who's really after the coach in this regard. But
I just want him to win.
Feeling,
I don't care who he plays.
I don't have that feeling.
No.
I do a little bit about Philp. I think Philp is earning his keep as an NHL player right now. He looks like an NHL player to me. And
but it feels like you and I see him a little differently than the coach does. Do you feel that too?
Well, definitely, because he's been coming out of the lineup a lot. Yeah. Whereas, but who are they going to take out, Kurt? I guess because I just think they want to give Howard a good run of games before Hyman comes back, maybe.
Yep.
And
you have to play Lazar now and again. Otherwise, it's unfair to stick him in there, right? Like,
they got to play him.
Yeah.
They could. So I guess they're not going to sit Frederick. But Frederick on merit they're not going to sit him. So I'm not going to just.
And he's had a slow start. And I think you and I saw 2 different Trent Fredericks tonight, and that's okay.
I didn't watch him I'm just watching him to see if he's involved in grade A shots mainly. And let me see if he, did he create anything on the attack? 10F. I didn't have him making a mistake on a grade A shot or creating a grade A shot. So it was kind of a typical Frederick game. Now, you said he had 8 hits. And so I'm assuming he did play physically, a bit more than he has been. So that's a good signal. That's a good sign. I'm not.
Yeah. I thought he played with edge tonight, and I certainly haven't thought that much so far this season. This was way more of the Trent Frederick I was expecting to get when we traded for him.
Good. I hope you're right, and I just missed something. Hope you're bang on. It's starting to get a little frustrating, but it's just 10 games. We'll give it time. All right, Kurt. Anything else?
I'll take the point. Let's see how we can do with the Utah Mammoth, who are up next on Tuesday night.
I was thrilled with the point. Of course, in overtime, I wanted them to win it because in 3-on-3, they're the better team.
Usually.
But I was glad they got through that final few minutes without getting scored on.
Yeah.
And they got the point, and that should be enough for a game.
I'll be glad to have that point come March.
Maybe. Yeah, the Oilers probably will. Kurt, thank you for talking tonight.
Always a pleasure.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast. Okay, stop.